Right.
It's in a practice session.
What does that mean?
Means that it's not there yet. I guess.
My earphones off. The web has started. I can't hear anything.
March 27th, 2024. The time is now 7:02. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Bass. Here. Vice Mayor Irvin.
Here.
Commissioner Kelly.
Present.
Commissioner Williams.
Here.
Mayor Taylor.
Here, as we stand for our invocation and our pledge of allegiance led by Commissioner Bass.
Almighty and everlasting Father God, we bless you for this day. Lord, we give you praise, honor, and glory. We acknowledge your presence in this house. We ask your God that we will govern ourselves accordingly and we will do as you has called us to do. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I see we have no awards, proclamations, or acknowledgements at this time. We're getting ready to go into the approval of the consent agenda. Do we have any deferrals or deletions of the consent agenda? All right, hearing none. Oh. Commissioner Mayor, Commissioner Kelly?
Want to pull number 4, please?
All right, anyone else? All right. Can I get a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Williams,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor Irvin. Madam Clerk?
Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Bass.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, and I see that we have an add-on. Madam Clerk, can you read into the record the add-on item?
Yes, we have a request to amend the agenda to include the following resolution as 14-1 under new items, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, authorizing the city manager to execute a payment plan agreement with Glorietta Partners LTD to resolve outstanding water and sewer bills, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager, and this would be again included as 14-1.
All right, Mr. Manager, can you state the emergency nature of this item?
Yes, thank you. The emergency nature is in financial and the impact that it's going to have on the city as we've gone over almost a year without having payment for our water services to Glorietta Partners LL Limited, which is the owner of Glorietta Gardens. So we're bringing this to the commission in hopes to move this payment plan forward that we just recently negotiated and the city attorney has memorialized for us.
Okay. All right, so we need a majority to add this on to the agenda. Can I get a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Vice Mayor, second by, who said that?
Bass.
Commissioner Bass. Madam Clerk, this is the vote to add to the agenda.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Bass.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, can I get approval of tonight's agenda? Can I get a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Vice Mayor,
Second.
second by Commissioner Williams. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Bass.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, can I get a motion to approve the regular commission meeting minutes from February 28, 2024?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Bass,
Second.
second by Commissioner Williams. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Bass.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, and we have no county or state reports, Madam Clerk, at this time, I don't see.
No, Miss Mayor.
So we're moving forward to our public presentations. We have none. Now we're getting ready to go into our citizens forum. Can you please state for the record how to participate in citizens forum?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening. City of Opa-locka Commission meetings are held in person at the Opa-locka Government Center, City Commission Chambers, 780 Fisherman Street, third floor, Opa-locka, Florida. Members of the public wishing to address the commission may do so in person or virtually. Those persons wishing to participate virtually should register prior to the scheduled meeting time on the city's website at www.opalockafl.gov. When speaking before the commission, please make sure to give your full name and address for the record. There is a 3-minute time limit for public comments. Please adhere to the decorum policy, which is a part of the commission meeting agenda. City commission meetings are aired through live stream at www.youtube.com/user/City of Opa-locka. And Mr. Mayor, at this time, we do not have any virtual public comments.
All right, so we're gonna open up citizens forum for those in the audience. Citizens forum is open.
Evening again, Janie Russell, 1210 Perry Street. I'm here to say that I am in support of I don't have the agenda with me, so I don't know what number it is, of getting rid of the trailers. I know that I've heard both sides of the story. I heard some people say that some things need to be flushed out, but I think you need to stop the bleeding. And then you can worry about that later, because our community is being over flooded with trailers. And I understand the need for housing, but we need to take advantage of the housing the housing initiatives that Opa-locka and the county has in place. So thank you, Commissioner and Commission, for bringing this forth. We as homeowners, we want to continue to be a single family where I live at. We want to continue to be a single family living homestead. You know that we live in Florida. Florida is a hurricane state. When you have those RVs and they're not tied down and we have hurricanes, they're going to be everywhere and all over the place. Opa-locka already has a strain on our infrastructure. So I really would just like to know, what are they doing with the waste? With the when they get finished, you know, how are they dumping it? What are they doing? Are they connecting to the sewer? You know, is there a permit to connect to the sewer? So please, I ask you, Mayor, Commission, that you all will please support this issue. I probably won't be here to the end. I have another engagement to go home and lay down, but but please pass this, and then whatever needs to be done after this, after that, I know that you all will get together and see to it that it gets done. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Russell. Any other for citizens forum?
Mr. Mayor, we do have a virtual participant.
We do?
Yes, sir.
All right, Madam Clerk, who's the virtual participant?
Ms. Mayor, I did not have anyone register via the website, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure who that individual is. Maybe the manager can respond.
It's Lori Melnick. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you. You have the floor.
Hi. Well, thank you very much. This is my first meeting with Opa-locka, but I own the property next door to your abandoned water tower. And it's been a horrible nuisance to me since Zika started. I have a ton of records.
Can you do me a favor? State your name and address.
Okay, I'm sorry. My name is Lori Melnick. I own Eastern Shores Printing next to Truly Nolan on 14476 128th Street in Opa-locka. I have been trying to deal with Mr. Lee, with Solomon Bankel, with your zoning department for the last 4 years. I have a ton. I have ring cameras, I have photographs, I've sent them to Mr. Lee. We have raccoons. They came up to my windows yesterday. We keep our bay doors open. Your abandoned property has a fence falling into my property. It has the water tower with tons of overgrown foliage. It also has about 75 rubber tires that are filled with water that have been there, that are mosquito collectors that were so full of mosquitoes that truly Nolan did me a favor during Zika 5 years ago and came in and sprayed them. I don't know what to do anymore. I could show you pictures. I'm not there. Unfortunately, I'm in New York. I did not know about this meeting, but I have photographs that I've sent to anyone in Opa-locka has known I've called them. I mean, it's beyond out of control to the point that I've considered ulterior methods of trying to get this enforced. And as of yesterday, I spoke to Solomon, who told me that the Public Works were going to come over and they never did. So I'm beyond me, but I don't know if I need to take legal action. I don't know if I need to call animal control. But it isn't just the raccoons that I have pictures of at my door yesterday. But it's my fence is falling in from your neglect of that property. By the way, you can't get to it because it's been totally fenced off by my neighbor because there's no easement by you to get there anymore. And I need help, and I've been requesting it for 5 years. I pay huge taxes, and I've been in business in Opa-locka at that property for 46 years. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
What was that location?
It's the print shop on, 120,
128th Street, next to
128th.
Truly Nolan.
next to Truly Nolan. All right,
Yep.
thank you. All right, anyone else in the chamber for citizens forum? All right, hearing. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name
Good
is
afternoon.
Frank Vega, and I am the neighbor to the water tank. I own the property next door. I was approached by the city.
Mr. Vega, you're gonna speak on that property?
Yes,
Okay, I'm gonna ask you to wait until we get to that part. We have public
Okay.
hearing on that item.
and okay, Lori did send me
Photographs.
Okay, you can give it to Madam Clerk. And then we'll allow you space during the public hearing portion of that.
Okay.
Of that. All right. Anyone else for citizens forum? Okay, citizens forum is closed. All right, for starters, Ms. Russell, unfortunately, the RV ordinance is not on the agenda tonight. So you're gonna have to table that speech and bring it back at the next commission meeting. And bring it back at the next commission meeting. And Ms. Lori, if you wait a little while, we will be discussing that item as well on the agenda. All right, so we're gonna move on to our consent agenda. Madam Attorney, 13-4.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, authorizing the city manager to piggyback the City of Oakland Port Contract number 012623 with RMPK Funding, Inc. For RMPK Funding, Inc. for grant management services and enter into a contract with RMPK Funding, Inc. for grant preparation services through March 15, 2026. As attached hereto in an amount not to exceed $40,000, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. Sponsored by the city manager.
All right, can I get a motion?
Move for discussion.
Move for discussion by Commissioner Kelly.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Williams. Mr. Manager, please present the item, then we'll open up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is items that we are looking to do a piggyback as quickly as possible so that we can resume with grant writing services for the city of Opa-locka. Unfortunately, we have just hired a grant manager, so we have somebody to manage the grants, but we need services for the city to actually write the grants. We have been unsuccessful with our RFP process, so we may do the RFP process again as I believe that we need at least 2, perhaps 3 grant writers on staff or are available to the city of Opa-locka. And I also have Mr. Robert Anathan here from our financial support services Business Department to answer any questions that the commission might have.
All right, this item was pulled for discussion by Commissioner Kelly. Commissioner Kelly, I'll let you start.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just really have one question. When this came back and no one had applied for it, my attention is kind of odd that with all the folks that are writing grants these days, nobody or no entities would apply. But then I noticed in the cover memo, it says we've strengthened our process now in order to make it, I guess, better, what have you. So only question I really have, did we do this before we decided to go with the piggyback, or we just decided to do that after the piggyback? Because even the company that had it didn't reapply. But according to the documentation, I guess after we put some new functions in place, I'm using the word from the current activity and staff memo, they decided they would take it on. That's really my question.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Commissioner Bob Anathan, Financial Support Services. Yes, sir. We, as the manager said, we now have a grant administrator on board, which we didn't have before. That administrator does report to me, and between the two of us, we're going to make sure we perform better than we did in the past when we didn't have the grant administrator.
So are you saying to me that our thought process was because we didn't have a function that you're doing now, that is why nobody applied?
Sir, I can't talk to why nobody applied, but we did reach out to RMPK funding. They did not apply last fall. I talked to him, explained how we reorganized. He indicated he was interested in coming back.
Okay, so that's my question. We decided not to put it back out with the new strengthening measures in place. We decided to go with the piggyback.
Yes, sir. Well, we had used him before. He had been very successful for us. He raised over $8 million. We thought, A, he was effective, and B, it was
No, that's not my question. My question was, with the new process you put in place, you did not put the RFP back out.
No,
But
sir.
when you told the company that we have now that what you've done, they agreed to come back.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, any other questions for the manager or Mr. Anathan on this item?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Williams?
quick question, Mr. Anathan. So going back, we're basically saying the company that we hired before, that we're going to continue to keep them until an RFP or until,
No,
what are we saying?
What we are proposing is to piggyback off of the Oakland Park contract, and that contract runs through March of 2026, and then has 2 one-year extension terms if agreeable to both parties.
But is this the same grant writing firm we had before, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's what I think I've asked a few times for a comprehensive list of their successes. I know, like I hear this, I hear it thrown out here, there.
Yes.
But what are their successes? I mean, we continue to,
Glad you asked.
oh, look at that.
Can that be provided in written form? or
But
can-
that's what I'm talking about. I'm in a written form,
I'll certainly,
100.
it will be
I mean-
distributed tomorrow. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, perfect. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Just,
Yes, ma'am.
bullet
It's
points,
about
whatever.
$8+ million, as you'll see.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and I don't want to beat this dead horse, Mr. Anathan, but the only question I had was the line that says the city manager has strengthened the city grants function by having the grant administrator report to the budget administrator. What was the difference between, who did they,
The position was not filled before, but it was assigned to finance, and the manager decided to be more effective. Since the financial director has her hands full right now, it might be more effective to have him report to me, or have her report to me.
okay, so they would report directly to you, to the manager?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
sir.
That's all I wanted to know on that. All right, any other concerns or questions on this item? All right, Madam Clerk?
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
No.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Bass.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-1.
All right, we're going into new items, 14-1. Madam Attorney?
This is a public hearing. It's a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, declaring certain city property identified as folio number
No,
0.
no. The new items, the Glorietta Gardens, 14-1.
Oh, I thought we
The
had.
add-on
consent-
item.
14-1.
I'll read it, Mr. Mayor. A
Please.
resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, authorizing the city manager to execute a payment plan agreement with Glorietta Partners LTD to resolve outstanding water and sewer bills, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager.
Okay, can I get a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Bass,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor Irvin. Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So as many of you all know, Glorietta Gardens has been a labor of love for the administration for approximately 2 years now. About a year ago, they ceased to pay their water bills, probably knowing that it is highly unlikely that we would cut the water off to nearly 500 residents. Accordingly, we had to find a mechanism to bring them to the table, and it ended up being their administrative offices. So since we have agreed upon receipt of a payment plan that they proffered to put forward and negotiate and ensure that we get our monies. We have this payment plan before you that looks to pay down the $1 million water bill with a deposit and a monthly payment across 60 months, including their consumption as they go. And I'm available to answer any questions that the commission may have about this item.
Okay, well, I'll start, Mr. Manager. Well, you know what? I think my answer is here. I want to know the penalty if they miss the payment, but I see it. They pay the interest of 9.9, 9.09.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and if they default for multiple months, are we going to do a lien on the property? What's the next step?
Yes, sir. It would be a lien on the property, and I would look to shut the water off at least to the administrative offices again.
All right, I don't see the lien in the agreement.
That's a part of the natural process that goes through code enforcement and finance department.
Okay, but they have an understanding of that, right?
Absolutely. They're going through it now.
I would prefer that it's in here so they know, like, we come back to your property. Any other questions or concerns on this item to the manager?
Mr. Mayor?
Commissioner Kelly?
Yeah, I have the same thing. I know it's a part of the natural code process, but for this one, because it's an ongoing issue, I'd like to see it codified in the actual document as well, and how long that process is before it is triggered, whatever the steps, whether it's like shutting off the water to the administrative offices or what have you, spelled out. So yeah, the lien needs to be incorporated in there in terms of the timeline and the shut off process for however you determine you're going to do it. If you're going to do the same method you did before, that's fine, but so it's listed in here. I'd like to see that as well. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
No problem. Who said? Vice Mayor?
Yes, thank you. It's about this, but not about this. Is there something that we have going forward in place where we don't see these astronomical amounts, bill amounts for people that owe us, and we're just, before it was Miami-Dade, thank you for getting that money for us, college. Thank you so much. And now we're here, like businesses, that's a lot of money. Is that something we have in place to keep this from happening going forward?
Well, to be succinct, no. Here, normally the process is you shut the water off. But if you have a tenant like Miami-Dade College, or you have a tenant like Glorietta Gardens that says, I know you're not going to shut the water off because that wouldn't hurt me, that would hurt the people that live here or the people that utilize this facility. So, but it's about reputation as well. As you recall, with Miami-Dade College, when I first reached out, I was looking to negotiate a payment plan and thought that would probably be like a 10-minute conversation, which turned out to be, no, we're not ever going to pay this water bill, and what are you going to do about it? But I think as the reputation of our city has changed, that this is a commission that is serious, that we are collecting on our debts, that we're going to see less and less of this kind of activity.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Vice Mayor, hold that point, because that's a good point. I would like to see that in legislation form, that after a certain amount that we're going to pursue. legal actions, lien, whatever we do, but because this is an astronomical figure and it went on too long. So I'm in agreement with Vice Mayor, but I'll take it a step further. I would love to see an ordinance on the books so that we know that after a certain amount, this is the next step.
Okay.
And it comes to the commission.
And it comes to prior to.
Yeah.
That's a commissioner's.
Get hit.
Mr. Mayor?
Give me 1 second, because Vice Mayor had the floor and then Commissioner Williams. was
Okay,
next.
I'm done. I'm good. Go ahead.
Okay, Commissioner Williams, and then you can have it, Bess, and then we'll call the
Okay,
commission.
real quick. I totally agree with both of you and what you said, that we should have that clause written in into the agreement now. So I'm guessing we need to do an amendment to make sure it's there and we say that on record. Specifically if they default on their payment. So we want to make sure that's there, and I agree with Vice Mayor as well. My question, Mr. Manager, for the 60-month term, is that they're paying on top of what they're paying currently. So that means we're getting our debt paid, but now they are, can you say
Yes,
that they are paying their bills? Like they are paying their bills. This is not gonna continue to accumulate.
correct.
Correct. Okay.
Yes.
I think that was all my questions. I just wanted to make sure. I would have liked to have seen 2 payments and not an extended length of time. But that's what you negotiated, so okay. Thank you.
All right, so we're gonna, Commissioner Bass?
Yeah, just out of curiosity, thank you. I wanted to know, when did this default started?
The default started summer of last year. They ceased paying their water bills summer of last year.
And they have accumulated almost $1 million in a year?
Yes. They have 9 buildings back there with approximately 500 residents.
Okay, thank you. I'm done.
Okay, and before we call the question, if there is any other discussion, I'm
Mr.
with
Mayor.
Commissioner Williams. Go ahead, Commissioner Kelly.
To the manager, since you negotiated this with putting this in the agreement is actually before us, required to go back, or you think that's something to be done internally?
It can be done internally, but we can also bring it back if the commission's.
No,
so
we need to
choose.
bring it back. If it can be done internally, I just want to make sure it's in there because we're
Yes.
saying we want it in there.
So I'm saying, what I'm understanding is that we're going to negotiate to put it in their statements about the terms under which there will be a shut off, a payment amount at which if there is a default, that the lien process will proceed and that we reserve the right to pursue lawsuits at any time.
Right. No, that's what we're
Definitely,
saying, but
okay.
we put it in there. You don't need to go back to them. That's what I'm getting at. Because
Well,
you've already negotiated this with them, I'm assuming.
Yes, well, I will definitely provide them notice.
Okay.
And that's what I was gonna say too. So can we vote on this tonight as the contract stands today? Because the first payment is due April 1st. I see that you have it here.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, we can
Or do-
proceed.
we can proceed.
Yes, sir.
So we need to do an amendment on the contract, Madam Attorney, or no, because it's not in the resolution. But can we just do as a motion to direct the city manager to bring back the amended contract?
You can direct the city manager to bring back the amended
Okay,
contract.
well, let's move that, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so before we vote, then what I'll do is make a motion to direct the city manager to bring back the amended contract with Mr. Manager. We asked for the
Shut off process, lien process, and reserving the right to pursue legal action.
okay, can you have that by next meeting?
Absolutely.
Okay, can I get a second on that motion?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kelly. Madam Clerk, on the motion.
On the amendment?
No, it's a motion.
Okay. Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Baz.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, and then what we decided that we was gonna vote for the contract as is. Madam Clerk, you can go ahead and call the question.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Baz.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, we're moving on to item 15A1, our public planning and zoning items. Madam Attorney?
Yes. This is a public hearing, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, declaring certain city property identified as folio number 08-2129-005-1621 as surplus property, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date, sponsored by City Manager.
Okay, this is a public hearing item, so can I get a motion? Then we ask the manager to present it, and we'll open up the
Move
public
it.
hearing. Moved by Commissioner Williams.
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor. Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this particular item is the city property that you heard, the property owners that are neighboring, this property, discussed earlier. This has been a long-term, property, in possession of the city of Opa-locka. It used to be our water tank site. The water tank, has not been utilized for decades, and the property has been now enclosed without, a legal easement to actually, for the city to actually access the property and maintain it. The best use that the city believes is to declare this property surplus. In fact, this property had been declared surplus under previous administration. The city attorney advised us that she saw perhaps some deficiencies in it, so we want to bring it back to make sure the surplus is done proper. So we're asking that the city, that the commission approve the city to move forward with declaring this property surplus so that we can move forward with perhaps a RFP to consider how we would dispose of the property.
Okay, this is a public hearing item. Public hearing is open. Mr. Vega, this is. Now is the time.
Well, my name is Frank Vega. I own the property next to the water tank.
Mhm.
As you heard,
Can you give us the address for the record?
it's 4480
Mhm.
Northwest 128th Street.
Go.
As you can see in the pictures that Lori took,
No.
Eastern Shore, the lady that was on the phone call, she's running into that on a daily basis. Back at I would say at the beginning of 23, I was approached by the city to see if there was an interest for me to purchase the property, and I said yes. We sent an LOI and to purchase it. Well, first of all, started that there was an interest. The city obtained an appraisal on the property, and I was approached, see if I was interested in buying it, and I said yes. We sent an LOI, cash price, no financial contingency to purchase the property. It's been a long time, and we haven't heard no response back.
Okay,
And I wanted to know if the interest still there, you know, what's gonna happen. But you
Okay.
definitely got the raccoons all over the place. You seen the pictures there.
okay,
Okay,
Thank you,
thank
Mr.
you.
all right. Mr. Manager, public hearing is closed. Is any other public hearing? Public hearing is closed.
Well, can I just say something? Am I allowed to still say something?
1 second, Ms. Lori. Can you all mind if we open public hearing? Okay, public hearing is open. Go ahead, Ms. Lori.
The only thing I want to say is I understand that Mr. Vega's desire to buy the property is important but regardless of what you all decide to do with that, I'm just stressing that it has to be cleaned up. Whether you sell it, keep it, trade it, whatever you do, it cannot be another year or 2 years or 3 years that it sits the way it is. And I invite you all to come. I'm coming back on Monday night from New York. Any one of you that would like to be my guest on Tuesday, I will bring luncheon or anything else to see what this property looks like. You should just drive over and look for yourselves. It's horrible. You asked us to all enclose our dumpsters, which we all did. Otherwise, we would get fines. I got a fine. I paid it. I didn't even care about that. Because we had all, waste management. We painted our buildings. I have brand new roof on our buildings. And this eyesight is next door. It's really not right. And I have to stress another thing. Opa-locka looks amazing now. I've been there since it was, you know, in the old days. With the airport, with Lejeune Road, with the new property going up on 135th Street. I mean, it's incredible what you've all done and what, you know, Amazon. But what's happened is the wildlife is now contained to little small teensy areas like the property next door to me. And that's the real sad thing about it. These raccoons are breeding, there's possum, they have no place to go. People even dump, you know how many dogs and cats I've rescued in front of my factory because people dump animals there too. So I'm stressing that regardless of what you do with that property, you must maintain it. That's my only request. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Lori.
Mr. Mayor?
Public hearing is closed. Commissioner Bass?
Thank you. I've had the opportunity to visit that site. It is absolutely hideous. It is hideous. I can't find a more negative word to describe what I saw today, and I wish you all had seen it. The questions that I asked as it relates to that property, I don't see what use it is for us, considering where it's located, right next to trailers, lots and lots of trailers, and her business. It is awful. It is absolutely awful. And like I said, I wish you all had seen it.
Mr. Mayor, or she's finished.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor?
I have one question, providing we agree with this tonight, sell the property to Mr. Vega. Because I've seen some of your raccoons are getting out to just let you know. They're not just contained to your area. I've had the privilege of coming in contact with a couple. What would be the plan to?
Can I add something?
No, Mr. Vega, we heard the questions will be to the manager.
What would be the plan? I don't know if he knows the plan for the raccoons, because
So it is the plan of the city, if the commission so approves, to put out an RFP. And absolutely, Mr. Frank Vega is welcome to compete for that RFP and dispose of this property as is. So it would be the responsibility of the new owner. We would give them a time frame to get the property cleaned up because we know the condition that we're turning it over into them in. And we would negotiate that with them so that they don't walk into, you know, daily running fines. But the intention of the city is to sell the property as is.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry.
1 second. Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
Okay. When we sell it as is, I'm still worried about the raccoons. That's it.
No, it would be required for the new owners to get that property cleaned up.
But just to piggyback, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Yeah.
Just to piggyback on what Vice Mayor was saying about the cleaning up of the property. Once it goes out for RFP, you're talking 60 to 90 days. So in the interim of that, and they won't close to maybe to the end of summer on that property, whoever is awarded the RFP. The property, like Ms. Lori has requested, needs to be cleaned and maintained, and it is a city property. So we are responsible until such time. So what are we gonna do in the interim? And I don't know if that's what Vice Mayor was asking, but I think, like to Commissioner Bass's point, I've also seen that property, and I'll use her words, it's hideous. That was your
Yeah.
word? It's hideous. Hideous. And if you already have tenants around it complaining about the property, then we need to intervene, especially with beautification projects that we're pushing towards the city. We got to make sure our house is clean as well. So that's my 2 cents on that. Oh, and one last thing, because I heard something was said that before we solicit buyers for properties, that it comes to the commission first in a workshop setting, saying this is what we're considering doing, as opposed to soliciting buyers for properties. And that's what was stated, that I was approached in 2023 to purchase this property. So before we start doing that, let's have a meeting with the commission, a workshop form.
So to correct the record, Mr. Vega was approached to get a market value by the Community Development Department. At no point in time was he told that he could have this property. It was always been a process to RFP. We started initiate the RFP process over 2 years ago.
But he also said he sent over. All right, never mind.
Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Williams.
Okay, y'all all stole my thunder, but nonetheless, I just wanted to say, I know Commissioner Bass, you used the word hideous a few times, but the atrocious part about it is it's our fault. So let's just start there. So I don't think that we should go with the first thing smoking because we dropped the ball on something. It is our property. We should have cleaned it. It should have been clean. And that's not the only property around the city that we own that needs to be clean and maintained. So, we have to sweep around our own front door. So let me, I just wanted to respond there. Also in response, and I don't remember the lady's name on the call, but when I totally agree that it needs to be clean, but the thing with the raccoons and I mean, everybody, I've got these stray dogs right now that just won't go nowhere. So, I mean, I don't know if it's a spring thing with animals, but this is a thing. So I hear what she says, but that's happening everywhere. But I would like to say that because it was stated, Mr. Manager, that he was approached, he said it, you have to go back. And even though it may not have been from the manager's office, someone from the city approached him about the property. And so I think, that kind of was out of order. And we need to make sure that things are done decent in order. We at the city should not approach people to buy our property. That should come to the board. The board should decide what we're going to do with the property. So I think those are some of the things that we got to fix because that's not the first time that I've heard that happen, not just with property, but things that have gone out before it's come to the board. I would like to see first the property itself, and then I don't want to make a rash decision to say, well, it's hideous, so we should dump it and let anyone that decides to have it, purchase it. There may be some things that we can speak with other entities that may tell us that something could happen on that property. I need to see it. I haven't seen it. So that I do agree with the mayor that there should be some workshop setting so that we can know what can happen. And if we realize that we need to upload it and sell it, then we as a board come to that decision. So that's my 2 cents.
Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Bass and then Vice Mayor.
Thank you. I love the idea that you want to see Commissioner Williams, and I think that's awesome. But for what I've seen today in my pea brain, where this property is located is basically smack in the middle of other things where I don't see anything else being there but what's there already. The trailers is not like if there's a separate plot of land that's just adjacent to something and it's nasty. It's like basically in the middle of something else where you can't go and build something in the middle that would make sense to the city. Thank you. I just wanted to say that because I actually saw it.
Okay.
Which is what I was gonna say, because to my knowledge, if they don't let us in the property, we can't get in it anyway. Am I correct?
Yeah, so a point of clarification, it's not our recommendation to dispose of the property because it is hideous. It's our recommendation to dispose of the property because we do not have access to the property. So in order to follow, if it be the will of the commission that we clean up the property before it is disposed of, we would have to take some type of legal action to install an easement on neighboring properties so that we can have access to that property to get it cleaned up, which is also going to be a process.
Mr. Mayor.
1 second, Madam Attorney. I'm gonna yield to Commissioner
Mayor.
Kelly. Commissioner Kelly.
Thank you. yeah, the property is bad. We're not gonna do anything with it. It's been there for a while. But let me go back, so some historical context, just really to ask the attorney, because this has been on city surplus prior to coming now. But as I read the document, I guess it was something not sufficient that we need to come back and make a declaration for this property. Is that, would that be a fair statement to the mayor, to the attorney?
Through the
Madam Attorney.
through the mayor, Commissioner Kelly, what my office is given in terms of advice to the planning and zoning office and the manager is that there are several things that have to be done pursuant to a past resolution that you all passed regarding surplus property. And it includes having to advertise in a newspaper of general circulation the disposal of the real property contemplated by sealed bid or auction to be awarded to the highest bidder. The city manager may reject any and all bids he deems appropriate. This language is not optional as to how the property should be disposed of once it is declared surplus. So it has to be declared surplus. This is going through the proper process. And so as discussed, the disposal has to be advertised, and the process for sealed bids, should it be purchase. This has to be laid out in detail. There can be a minimum bid price to avoid going out through the process twice or not getting at least the appraised value. And I'd also reiterate that my office has suggested that the city obtain an updated appraisal. I'm not sure if we did that. And I think the manager or somebody said that they asked the neighboring property owner to do that, which, you know, that's not really our process. But I would say also, and one of the things I wanted to let you all know earlier, if you bring the issue, if the issue is brought to our office, we are happy to look at it because there is an implied way to get into the property. There can't be a property that we can't get into. So there must be something that we're missing, and we're happy to help look at that issue if brought to us.
Mr. Mayor?
Commissioner Kelly.
Hey, that was a question that's why I raised that, because we can't access the property even if we wanted to clean it. Or if we were going to keep it to do something we can't access, which is kind of strange to me that you have a property that we could not access as the government. Let me just be clear so we can move along. My standpoint, the resolution before us is declared surplus property. That's what's before us in this item. And so I think all of us kind of agree we don't want to do anything with it. We have no desire. So the only question I would have, because this is specific to this property, would we need to add something to the effect of cleaning up? Because the managers indicated, even for us to clean up, it would be a long process. You know, let me do that. Mr. Mayor, is that correct, Mr. Manager? To the mayor? Mayor to the manager?
Through the mayor to Commissioner Kelly. Yes, sir, you are correct.
So even if it's a long process, we don't like it the way it is. So if we're going to declare it surplus property, then we're going to have to, I would assume, clean up and just watch it for the next however long, Mr. Manager, 60, 90, whatever. I mean, I don't know how long.
At minimum 90 days, yes, sir.
So we'd be looking at 3 months for it to be as is, and until we would possibly take the next step.
Yes, sir. That's
So
right.
that's the question for the commission. We want to wait 90 days for it to be as is, or we want to move it quicker. I'm more concerned with the fact of if we clean up, what else we're going to find as, you know, through the declaration. But I have no problem with declaring it surplus property. But I would like to add, since it's specific, Mr. Mayor and my colleagues to the attorney, is it a way, as a part of this resolution, to look at the process of getting into the property? Or would that be something that requires separate legislation?
It will require separate legislation. But I think if we looked at it from that vantage point, we've only looked at it from the point of what do we need to do? How do we have surplus property? What is the process? And so the process was what we pointed out. But I'm sure we can look at it from the standpoint of without it having to be legislation, because there's an applied under Florida law, there's you have to have access to your property. So we can look at that issue and see how that came about. I don't know if somebody's covered up an easement or if, something was recorded incorrectly or something. I don't know.
Well, the reason I'm bringing it up because even if we declare it surplus property, but it can't be accessed except somebody let us in, we're not applied to the same, well, we're trying to get in there.
Yeah, I just don't know how that can exist is what I'm saying. So I will I'll take a look at it along with Pam Booker in my office and.
Well, okay, thank you. Well, then I would hope you would let us know, whatever your determination. I have no problem supporting the resolution that's here before us, since we can't add anything to it, because it's really just declaring it, what we already know, something that we're not gonna have any intent. So just for 15A1, I could support that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so I think we're good. Any other concerns for this item? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, you can go ahead and call the question.
Commissioner Bass?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Taylor?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, we're getting ready to go into our ordinances. 16B1.
Mr. Mayor?
Madam Clerk.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. You're correct.
16B1.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, amending Article 10.5 of the City of Opa-locka's Code of Ordinances to establish the City of Opa-locka's Housing and Social Services Department, providing for severability, providing for conflict and repealer, and providing for an effective date. The first reading and public hearing was held on February the 28th, 2024, and this is sponsored by Mayor Taylor.
Okay, can I get a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Williams.
Okay.
Second by Vice Mayor. And I'll present the item. It's simply put, we have no department that directly touches our residents. And this pretty much would allow our residents to have a place to come for benefits, for things that they need to sustain life in the city of Opa-locka. This is a public hearing item. Public hearing is open. Hearing none, seeing none, public hearing is closed. All right, I'll open up the floor for any questions, if be it any. All right, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Irvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner Bass?
Yes.
Mayor Taylor?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, moving on to 16B2.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, amending Article 2, Division 2, Section 2-45 of the City of Opa-locka's Code of Ordinances to add the placement of future agenda items to the City Commission agenda, requiring a majority vote for placement of said items, providing for severability, providing for conflict and repealer, and providing for an effective date. The first reading and public hearing was held on February the 28th, 2024, and this is sponsored by Commissioner Williams.
All right, can I get a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Bass, second by Commissioner Williams. Commissioner Williams, this is your item.
Okay, as I stated before in the first reading of the ordinance, wanted to bring back future agenda items so that we have a streamlined process so that we're not just placing items on the agenda. And again, as I stated before, it was also a recommendation. It was also recommended that we
League of Cities.
thank you so much, League of Cities. I'm on spring break. League of Cities, and so I just wanted to make sure that we brought back a streamlined process. That's it. Thank you. I'll take any questions.
All right, this is a public hearing item. Public hearing is open. Public hearing is closed. Any questions or concerns to the sponsor of this item?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly?
I understand it has to support, but I just want to be clear, so when it passes and come back, to put an item, because I watched this before I got back on the dais, and it seems sometimes to have moving parts. If it was a popular item, it tended to not have any challenge. If it was not a popular item, it tended to face almost, you got to present the item to get it on the agenda. So I want to just wanted for clarity, if you want to put an item on the agenda, you bring it under that that item, which was usually at the end of the meeting, for future items. The commission then would decide by a majority vote that it goes on the agenda. The question I have is, how much information is required at that moment?
Mr. Mayor, if I may?
I think that question was to the sponsor.
Oh,
'cause
okay,
she-
it's in the
But
legislation, but
I'll pitch it back.
Okay, Madam Attorney.
yes, it's in the legislation, Commissioner Kelly, and it does say something to the effect of enough information to, basically let you all generally understand the item. So you're not giving everything and giving all of the detail. That's actually something that will be researched by staff. You're putting forth the item with just enough information so that your colleagues understand generally what you're trying to do with the item.
I understand. I was asking the sponsor because I saw that take place where it was stated in meetings sometimes. That's not enough information to put it on there. That's why I asked the question. I saw the language in general information, but I also saw when it was in place previously watching meetings, sometimes colleagues up here didn't feel they had enough information to actually support putting on the agenda. So following the context of what it says, general information. Okay, that I still
Mr.
not
Mayor.
really think the item as indicated is necessary. The league did support it, but the league supported it based on some other criteria too, but I understand the sponsor intent. No
Mr.
problem.
Mayor.
Thank you.
Commissioner Williams?
Thank you. The word that was used, that if it was a popular item, I don't think there's no such thing as a popular item. When items are come to the agenda, be it whether it's on a future agenda item or not, if it's not a popular item, then we vote it down or we vote it up. So there's no, in my opinion, this notion of item being popular or not, to be placed on future agenda items. I know that when we did have future agenda items, no, we did not have all the backup and everything, but we were able to have discussion and flush things out a little bit more during that item. And in terms of, and I'll give you another example, such as the RV, there were a lot of discussions and add-ons. Those things could have taken place then, so that when the item comes back, it's already flushed out before, so that we're not flushing it before and then doing all the amendments. And we do a lot of amendments to items when those items come. So that's my goal. And again, if it doesn't work, then the commission can always come back to the table. That's it.
Well, Commissioner Williams. Okay, then I have a question. If the legislation is not being proffered at the time that the future agenda item is presented, then how are we going to make amendments and flush anything out? Because at that moment, it's just an idea. So if I said I want to paint all of the poles in the city red, I haven't had the opportunity to sit with staff to flesh it out, to tell you how we're going to do it, to give you the whatever that it takes to do that. But it's just an idea at that moment. So you're pretty much giving me permission to go to the manager, to talk to staff, to get staff to flesh it out and then bring it back to the board. That's essentially what.
But essentially, you're also asking your board, I have an item, I want to paint all the poles red. What are your thoughts about painting the items red? And so having that conversation then, and then of course, going back to.
But that's not what future agenda item does. Future agenda item says that we have to ask the board permission, not explain, not flesh out. It's not a discussion.
No,
It's a
I know.
permission. So
Mhm.
I want to paint all of the poles red. Can I bring it to the board as an agenda item? And that's a yes or no question. At that moment, there is no time for discussion. There is no time to flesh it out. There is no time for amendments. I have to essentially just come to you and ask you permission to put forth legislation, then come again with said legislation for you to vote on said legislation. And that's why I never understood future agenda item, because I don't think that it accomplishes what you said, the streamline. I don't see that, because again, it's just us asking permission. And then, like Commissioner Kelly said, if the item is popular, I even take it a step further. If the person is popular, then the item would be voted to be on the agenda. But if the person is not the flavor of the month, and we've seen this done during that period, then that item will not be voted on, even if it's a great idea. But it would be right message, wrong messenger at the time. And we've seen it take place in this city. So that's why I never agreed with it. I never agreed with the future agenda items because we use it as a personal attack. And I'm not saying that that's what you're doing. So don't take it that way. I'm not saying that that's what you're doing. But in the past, because you didn't bring this item in the past, that's what it was used to weaponize the commission. And that's my 2 cents on it.
So I'm gonna respectfully disagree with that. I will also say that it does allow staff, specifically our charter members, to work through those items a little bit more. Whereas items are thrown on the agenda. They're thrown on the agenda. We look at the backup. Some of the backup isn't there. It's not clear. We're asking a ton of questions. And that's what I'm saying. If we know that it's on the agenda, then that you have that time, and so does staff, to work through that agenda. All the other personal stuff. That is not my reason for bringing it. So again, like I said, I disagree with that, but again, that was, can always bring it back.
Again, I say that means we were elected to be legislators up here. The only people that would be able to pass legislation in the city would be the charter officers. And it takes away the commission's complete creative autonomy to do things in the city. It ties our hands, but hey, like it was stated, we know it has the vote, so we don't need to belabor the time.
I didn't say that.
No, I didn't say.
I never said that.
Like it was stated. It wasn't.
When was-
It wasn't you stated that. We know it has the support, so we can call the question if there are no other concerns on this item.
Commissioner Kelly,
No.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Bass,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
No.
Motion passes 3-2.
All right, going into 16B3.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, piggybacking the Sourcewell Cooperative Program Agreement 101221-BTR with Environmental Products Group, Inc. to accept a 4-year capital lease agreement for the purchase of a Vector Model 21151 mounted on a new 2023 Freightliner Model 114 SD truck chassis in the amount of $525,360.99 at an interest rate of 5.69%, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. The first reading and public hearing was held on March the 18th, 2024, and this is sponsored by the city manager.
All right, this is a public hearing item, but can I get a motion first?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Bass. Second by Vice Mayor. Mr. Manager, you can go ahead and present the item, and then we'll open up a public hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is an item in support of our Public Works Department. We are in need of an additional trucks for our fleet so that we can continue to provide the services to the residents and to the community. And I have Mr. Robert Anathan, our our department head for financial support services here if you have any questions regarding the lease terms.
All right. This is a public hearing item. Public hearing is open. Public hearing is closed. Do we have any questions for the manager or Mr. Anathan at this time? Or can we call the question? Commissioner Kelly?
One question, why wasn't this agreement actually done back when we did it? When we passed it, back in October of last year, why wasn't it executed?
I don't believe it was past that. I don't have the date where the actual purchase was done.
Okay, well, let me just say this. I'm looking
Right.
at the document. It says, whereas on October 5th, 2023, we approved resolution for the procurement of the VAT truck, all the model numbers, what have you, payments, et cetera, but no contract was executed. And so we're now going to finance it for a 4-year period. I guess it's going to save us some money on
Yes, sir.
the
Well,
interest.
as
I got that
opposed to
part.
5 years.
My question was, we're in basically April.
Yes, sir.
Why wasn't this executed back then?
I can't answer that. I was not directly responsible for it at that point in time. So I don't have a good answer for that one.
Okay, and again, and it's nothing against not needing the work truck, not anything against needing the manpower support of the vehicle, but the commission passed in October. Here we are,
Yes, sir.
April, just now actually executed.
I'm sorry. I did realize The truck was just delivered in February. And so at that point, when we move forward to get a final quotes on interest, I'm sorry, I did forget that.
So no contract executed on the truck?
No, well, the bank is going to finance it.
Okay.
What initiated the whole process, now that I think about it for a moment, was the delivery of the truck, which was in February. At that point, we got final rates from the bank, and then we moved forward with the lease proposal.
So when the commission passed this item in October, we didn't have any amounts that we were going to be leasing in the agreements.
At the time, we thought it was going to be 5 years, but the rates we had gotten in 2022.
So we passed in October 23 based on rates of 22.
What you passed in October was the purchase of the vehicle for $493,000, I believe, with the financing to be determined at such time that it became available. And again, the bank was not going to provide those rates until the vehicle was delivered. The price of the vehicle did not change. It was just the financing of it.
I'm bringing a point because the commission passes something in a timely manner, thinking we're going to get it. And here we are basically 4 months later. And what you're telling me is the financing part changed, which did we wait?
No, sir. Again, the bank was not, the vehicle was not, we didn't have a delivery date at the time it was passed in October. We understood it was going to be sometime after the first of the calendar year. We were notified, I think, at the end of January that the vehicle was ready to be delivered. At that time, we were able to go back to the bank, said, okay, we're not prepared to move ahead. And they gave us the rates that are applicable at that point in time.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Manager?
Thank you. If I could just assist the team with responding to Commissioner Kelly, just as a point of clarification, this is pretty fast for us. It generally takes us 6 months on a delivery for vehicles. That includes code enforcement, public works vehicles, especially police vehicles, because it sometimes takes 3 months to 4 months for us to get them, and then we have to spend another 2 months to get them packaged out. And that is when contracts with the financing is secure. Here, with the resolution was passed, we did not have the financing secured. The terms that we had proffered to them, the bank declined. So it took some negotiation, and that's where Mr. Anathan stepped in to kind of massage those terms and help us get to the agreement, which was, I believe, a 5%, which is pretty good terms.
Mr. Mayor, to the manager, I was going to let you really slide, really. I don't want to open up this window because while you're correct, it does take a while to get vehicles. I'm looking at what we get. And I'm looking at the information here, but we're going to get the truck. The truck is here, so I won't prolong the time. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Any other questions to the manager or Mr. Anathan at this moment? All right, hearing none, Madam Clerk, you can call the question.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Bass.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, we're moving on to our resolutions. 16C1.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, approving issuance of requests for proposals, RFP, for future city commission consideration of the sale of declared city-owned surplus property located along the south side of Northwest 128th Street between Northwest 44th and Northwest 45th Avenues, known as water tank property within the city and identified by folio number 08-2129-005-1621, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date, and this is sponsored by the city manager.
All right, this is a public hearing item, but can I get a motion first?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Williams,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor. Mr. Manager, go ahead and present the item, then we'll open up for public hearing.
Thank you. So this is the companion item to the surplus property item that was just passed. We are looking for the will of the commission to move forward with disposal of this property. And in addition, I have sent you all an email, copying the clerk and the city attorney with the photo from the Miami-Dade County Property Appraiser's Office that has the, so that you can get a visual of the site.
All right, this is a public hearing item. Public hearing is open. Public hearing is closed. Okay, any questions or concerns to the manager on this item?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Williams?
so I think I'm a little confused. When we talked about the surplus item before, it was stated that there was no conversation about the sale. It just seems a little contradictory. So now we're asking for a RFP to sell the property, correct?
Oh, through the, so yes, that's correct.
So I know that Commissioner Bass saw the property. I don't know if anyone else seen the property. If it's the will of the commission to sell it, to do RFP to sell, if we know that there's nothing else can be done on this property in terms of for the city, but we also heard from the city attorney that stated that there are ways that we can come onto the property. So I don't know. I don't know, it just seems a little iffy. And then if coincidentally, if it's sold to a specific person, it would just look like everything was just kind of created for that. My question, Mr. Manager, what would be the estimated cost to clean that property, in your opinion?
We did get an estimate. I believe it was, I have the exact figure that I can provide you, but I believe it was about between $100,000 and $200,000.
Okay. So basically it was hideous.
Basically, Commissioner.
Okay. Okay, thank you. That was it for me, Mr. Mayor.
Any other concerns about this item? All right, we can go ahead and call the question. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Bass?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Taylor?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, we're getting ready to go into our city manager's report. Mr. Manager, you have the floor.
Thank you. So I have a host of hot topics to discuss. A couple of them will be under the mayor's report and and some additionals under the Commissioner Williams report. So I will not belabor the time and I'll wait for our time then.
Okay. All right, any questions to the manager? All right, we're getting ready to go to our official board reports. I don't see any board chairs here or representation from the boards. No, okay, so we're moving on to
Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner-
I did ask Ms. Walker, well, I don't know if you want to do this during the board report. I did ask her to come share out the youth and young adult board met. Or do you want that to come during the commission report?
She can do it on the board report.
Okay.
We're here now. Look,
Thank you.
Mr. Manager, Ms. Walker, please.
Yes, sir. We have coming before you, Ashley Walker, our legislative aide, that is also our clerk for the board, and she's going to give a board report and status.
All right, Ms. Walker, you have the floor.
Good evening, City Commission. So to give you a brief synopsis of the meeting for the Teen and Young Adult Board, the Teen and Young Adult Board met on Wednesday, March 20th at 5:30 p.m. Although the board shall consist of 5 members, there are currently 4 appointed. All members were in attendance. I provided the board with a copy and read into the record the policies and procedure that governs the board. The members selected a chair, which was Apollinaire Mendoza, and a vice chair, David Anderson. They also selected a meeting time and a date, which is the 3rd Wednesday of the month at 5:30. Following the meeting, we discussed ethics training, which has been scheduled by the city clerk with Mr. Thompson from the Miami-Dade Commission Ethics and Public Trust Division for April 17th at 6 p.m. The teen and young adults next scheduled meeting will also be April 17th at 5:30. Any questions?
All right, any questions for Ms. Ashley?
That's it.
Okay,
Thank you. We're
You're
just
welcome.
glad they met.
thank you, Ms.
And
Ashley.
you did great. I know you were nervous.
Yeah, so this was Ms. Walker's first time speaking for the commission, so we're very proud of her.
And Mr. Mayor?
Sorry, Madam Clerk.
So the board training that we scheduled with, my office scheduled with Miami-Dade Commission on Ethics, it's for all board members, not just that board. So I sent an email to all the board members on the City of Opa-locka boards. In addition to that, I did invite the board clerks to also participate in the board training so that they're familiar with the laws that govern advisory boards.
All right. Thank you, Madam Clerk. All right, moving on to the mayor and commission reports. Mr. Manager said he has hot topics under my report, which we know is already here, and plus we have to do the contract as well as Commissioner Williams. Is that one extensive or?
I can read mine out, what I would like updates on. I don't know if you want to write them down. They didn't make the agenda.
Huh?
So what I wanted to get updates on, under
This is
commission
to the
report,
manager?
yes.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
So no, I'm saying if you all wanted to write them down, so, because there's a few. The first thing I wanted, and of course, unfortunately, it brings Ms. Walker back up, is an update on the scholarship and what that looks like. And then also, as we discussed before, the summer youth internship program that's coming up. And I just wanted the board to know that our students are applying now for the summer youth internship, and we know that the city has interns. And so we're excited to, just make sure that we continue that that partnership. And lastly, the police explorers. So those were the three that I wanted updates on.
Okay,
Scholarship, summer youth internship program, and police explorers.
okay. Well, the first two items were, one was my item, and the second one was an item that I proffered, but I'm waiting for the manager's office for us to get together with the city attorney. So the scholarship, we passed it, but we are waiting on Mr. Manager,
Yes, sir.
is Ms. Walker?
We actually have the director of human resources, Ms. Mary Adams, here, and it's two separate programs.
I was just
One
about to
is,
say, on that, no, let's start in order.
okay,
So the scholarship is what we have first. So Commissioner Williams wants an update on the scholarship program.
okay, all right. Mrs. Walker.
As you guys know, the city annually offers a annual scholarship of $1,000 to 5 students, eligible students who reside within the city limits. The scholarship details has been posted on the city's website since Wednesday, February 21st. Copies of the scholarship flyers and applications were distributed via USPS to the local schools in English, Spanish, and French Creole on Monday, March 25th. I do know that some of the schools have received it. I will follow up after spring break to see if the additional schools have received it. And I have a list of schools here that I would like to, that I sent the information to. Miami Carroll City Senior High, Miami Norland Senior High, William H. Turner Tech, Miami Central Senior High, Hialeah Miami Lakes, Miami Northwestern Senior High, North Park High School, Beacon College Prep, Nathan B. Young, and Robert B. Ingram. Although Nathan B. Young and Robert B. Ingram are elementary schools, I did ask that information is shared with any family members that are class of 2024 graduates.
Got it. All right, Commissioner Williams. is there-
I wanted to say thank you, Ms. Walker, because during my agenda briefing, I had some questions. And thank you for following up, because we did talk about the CAP advisors and just ensuring that it got in their hand. And then when I was able to go back, my CAP advisor got it. So just thank you for following up, and let's just continue to follow up so that we can check mark every school so that we know that the CAP advisors not only got it, but they're also distributing it. Thank you.
Will do. Thank
I
you.
have a question. When is the cutoff date for the scholarship? I saw it posted, I don't remember.
The cutoff date is 12 noon on March 3rd, 2020. I'm sorry, May 3rd, 2024.
And when will we know who were granted the scholarships?
After that, it's about I want to say about a 3-week process to go through and flush out the details of the recipient, the applications that were received. And then, so I'm thinking by the beginning of June.
Beginning of June.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we
Just a-
definitely intend to have it out before school ends.
That's what I was, okay, we're good.
And who reviews the scholarships?
Right now it's the Community Relations Board.
Okay.
All right.
You're welcome.
All right, on the next item that you brought up, Commissioner Williams, the internship program, I know we have two. One, the city does through HR department, which is an internal internship program. And I'm assuming Ms. Adams is going to speak on that, Mr. Manager?
Yes, which is different from the career source.
Okay, now
item.
the second one is a
Okay.
career source. Now, on the career source, I can speak to that. We're actually waiting on the contract to be, sorry, we're waiting on career source to actually put out the contract. So once that comes, then we'll bring it before the commission to vote, and then we'll move forward with that. But in the interim, we have Ms. Adams to speak on the internal internship program within the city of Opa-locka. Mr. Manager?
Absolutely. Ms. Adams, you have the floor.
Good evening. Thank you, sir. Good evening, Commission. And we are very excited as well this summer to have this internship program and continue this really wonderful exposure in the business community to our youth. So the Miami-Dade Public Schools Summer Youth Internship Program 2024 has an acronym SYIP. And to date, the report is as follows. We've contacted, we have a contact there, and we are pending our submittal. We don't see any indication that that will not be completed. It's just a process. We've requested 10 students. That is the maximum number that we can request. The start date is June 3rd. And the extension of the program is June 3rd to August 7th. This is fully funded, not by Opa-locka. However, it is for our work environment, and we have a list of community sponsors. Each intern will receive a stipend of 2 payments, $750 in 2 payments, a total of $1,500 for this June 3rd to August 7th timeframe to assist as a stipend. Are there
Okay.
any questions, please?
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
I know this was done internally with the offices that are here on site. Is that
Yes.
going to be the way it is going forward? Like I heard you say the business community.
I'm sorry?
It's the interns are for the city.
Yes.
Okay, I said that.
Oh,
way.
yes.
All right, and then the other thing,
Sponsors are businesses in our community.
the sponsors of the program.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the other thing is, you all, and it's not you, you here new. You all never asked the commission if we would like an intern. So can we be included in this if we so choose?
So you
How does that
actually
work?
want one of our interns. So
I would love an intern for the mayor's office if that is
I will
available.
check on assigning.
Okay,
We may have to do a straw because you all are so popular. All of them will want to work with you now. So thanks for that.
He can have them all.
Yeah.
Thanks for
I
giving
was
me
thinking
that.
myself, I said that.
Saying I work with kids all year. I need a summer break. I did have a quick question, Ms. Adams, and thank you for that information. Just wanted to put out, there is also a dual enrollment piece to the SYIP part that's new this year. So it would be amazing if those students also apply. They get a dual enrollment credit through Miami-Dade College. They would then have to apply on their own to Miami-Dade, but we can, after we hire our 10, we can have that, you can have that conversation with them, that if they would like to have that dual enrollment, all they need is a 2.5 to have that, and that is a college credit, and it is connected to SYIP. So just wanted to put that on your lap. And
I appreciate because you have this information internally that you're sharing it. Thank you very much. I will make a note.
And lastly, I don't know if it's possible. I don't know. I know with the agreement with Career Source and the city, is there a way to ensure that we receive students from the city of Opa-locka? I don't know if it's as tight as it.
I can check it. That's
Okay.
not a requirement.
I know.
However,
it's-
we would absolutely,
Okay.
during our process, we will do our best
Okay.
to ensure that our
As
work
much as we can.
environment,
I know.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. And we're hoping that we have that to draw from as
Yeah.
well.
Okay,
Thank you.
and
Thank you all.
Just a quick question.
go ahead.
What's the age limit?
High school. I'm
So we'll
not
be
sure of the
from
number, like
16
16.
and up.
16 and up, 16 and up, okay.
All right,
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly?
not so much on the summer piece, but does the city still have the unpaid intern program possibility? It still exists or it no longer exists?
I do not know.
Okay, you can just find out.
I'll make a note and,
All right,
and
thank you.
send that information through
Thank
to you.
Okay,
Is there anything else about that that you would like to know?
No,
Just
because
if it is available.
it only came, I thought about it when the mayor mentioned my intern, because years ago, I actually had interns from the colleges who needed hours and needed, and so they would volunteer in my office 3 days a week. And they didn't get paid, basically was free. But some of them that were in political government, political science majors, things like that, they wanted that experience. So I wanted to hopefully revive that, but you can just find out, let me know. Thank you.
Sure will. Thank you all.
okay. And the last thing on Commissioner Williams' report, it was the Explorers, the Police Explorers program. Mr. Manager, who's on that?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So to respond to the request for Commissioner Williams, we have the Chief of Police, Chief Otley, that is going to give a presentation and update on the Explorers program.
All right, Chief, you have.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. I have a PowerPoint presentation to present to you on the successes and advancements of our Opa-locka Police Department Explorers. So next, we currently have Sergeant Gabriela Yanez, who is the supervisor of the community policing unit, along with Officer Darren Shiverton, and they're currently leading the Explorer program. Next. It's a video for you.
May I ask a quick question while we waiting for him to get that together?
Yes.
For some reason, I was under the impression that the age started at 14, but I was told that's not true. It's 12.
12.
Okay.
So this is our Explorers
The days of work.
PT day, where they were working out in the gym.
Earn my pay. I get off the rock. I move on down. To go make a call. Bringing on the doors.
Building their physical fitness for preparation for their ride-along program that'll be coming soon. Next. This is our Explorer van. Needs a tad bit of work, but it's operating. They're currently using it now to go from place to place. We also use the van while doing our traffic stop examples. Next. These are patches. Explorer, City of Opa-locka Police, and City of Opa-locka Explorer. That'll be on their uniform shirts. The left side will have the Explorer police patch, and the City of Opa-locka will be on the right shoulder. Next. So February of this year, Sergeant Yanez and Officer Shiverton worked in earnest to build a community program policing unit and the Explorer program. In less than 2 months, the detachment has grown from 4 to 10. And in about another month or two, we're waiting on permission slips from the parents. It'll be 13. February 21st was Sergeant Yanez's first meeting. She met with the parents, and on that night, they actually did an example of how to fill out a traffic citation and conduct traffic stops out in the rear of our building, which is a part of the program. Next. On the 28th, they did the traffic stops again. They demonstrated how to activate the lights and sirens, how to approach a vehicle safely, and how to interact with the community during a traffic stop. So all of these planning stages are in preparation for when they go out and with our Explorer officers, and they won't be going out on patrol, but they will be setups to do traffic stops out on the street to ensure that they're safe of their safety and prepare them for their future, hopefully as future Opa-locka police officers. On the 13th, they taught the explorers the Q codes. The Q codes are what we use in Miami-Dade County on how we communicate on our radio. So we set up a frequency via Miami-Dade Communication Center where they could actually communicate on the radio and practice their Q codes with a live dispatcher. Next. On the 16th, they had a 1 hour physical fitness, which you saw the video. They had the honor to volunteer for the year's learning for Law Enforcement Explorers competition, which they are currently at. This is downtown, and we have some photographs where they were actually participating in the scenario-based events. So they haven't been around long enough. They don't have the training yet. By next year, they will be fully trained and they will be participants in this event, as opposed to just scenario-based, where they're acting as role players in the events. Next. So these are photographs of the traffic stops where they're using our police vehicles, writing their reports. You see on the right-hand side, the explorers writing a citation. On the left-hand side, they're safely approaching the driver and asking questions for his driver's license, registration, and proof of insurance. Next. Inside, this is inside the classroom in the back in our CID portion of our station, where they're going over the Q codes and they're actually learning how to call out the code on the radio when they do get the opportunity to speak on the radio. Next. Again, more training scenarios. And they were having lunch provided by the police department. Next. So this is where they're at currently this week, our 2024 South Florida Council Learning for Life Law Enforcement Explorer competition. This happens annually. And this is their first, we were invited to attend as role players because we weren't quite ready to participate. We look forward for next year for when we're there in a full-time status, ready to participate along with the other explorers. Next. So this is the opening day ceremonies. On your right-hand side, this is all of the explorers in Miami-Dade County. On the right-hand side, you see the city of Miami in the rear, and we have our 8 explorers that attended. They are right in the middle. It's kind of hard to see them, but they have our T-shirts. In response to the uniform issue, they have uniforms. We had uniforms that were donated by the city of Miami. Some were too big, some were too small. So we have pants, our trousers we had to purchase new. The black trousers that we got donated, they're going to use those for participation in their weekly training events. For the regular uniforms, the dress uniforms, what I'd call it, that's what they'll be using to participate in city events. And when they go external to the city, participate in these type of events. So we're coming along. And these are some of the things, things that they participated in. We had the team events was crisis intervention, domestic crisis, search scenario where they search a room, clear the room with entry, crime scene. Next.
Yeah, let me tell you. We good, Chief. We good.
Okay.
They won't tell you. I'll tell you. We good.
I'm blocked.
You ain't got to read all. Yeah, you
and this is our soon to be wrapped Opa-locka autism awareness. Are you ready to go home, sir?
I just want to say,
they're up here trying. We got you.
Now I'm excited. I've been asking for that truck, so it's here.
It's in progress, but that's what it's going to look like, and it'll be done by next week, Thursday.
For the walk, Chief.
It will be ready for the walk for sure, 100%.
I did want him to stop, but since he did that, I don't want to be embarrassed.
You got to do is say stop.
No, they're up there saying stop. No. I'll tell it. I don't mind.
But
we got it.
Thank you, Chief. The Explorer program is up and running. Commissioner Williams, does that answer all your questions?
Is that your last slide?
That is the last slide. Well, actually, I got 5 more. You ready?
Oh, no, I'm not rushing you. I'm like Mr. Hannafin, but I'm just.
We're rushing you, Chief.
No, you didn't. Wait a minute. Come back, Chief. Come back.
Is what Commissioner Bass wants to know.
Every commission meeting, every other Wednesday.
Every other Wednesday.
Yes, whenever the commission meets, that's what they.
Mr. Mayor, let me just say I'm very excited to see this program. I was just telling the Vice Mayor, actually remember, this actually came about 2 years ago, starting this process at Meet Me Monday. And that very young man, I don't know if he's a chair, co-chair.
Yes, yes.
I know he's
yes.
involved, but he was about,
100%.
what, 12 back then?
Yes.
And he's been on it at Mimi Monday, so I am so glad to finally see it come to fruition and excited. And whatever, the commission needs to do, whether it's uniforms, whatever, I am totally in support of doing that. I'm glad to see it finally come to fruition. So thank all those that got to this point. All we got to do now is work on crime watch and we'll be good to go.
Working on it, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, Commissioner.
Mr. Mayor,
Call up, Chief.
before you leave, Chief, first of all, thank you so much for the PowerPoint. I know, I love my PowerPoints. And just the reason why I wanted to bring all these points out, these updates is, I always say we don't do enough highlighting the great things that we do in the city. And so having our residents see this, I guarantee you're going to get more calls and it's going to grow. You will never believe, but I was a police explorer in Opa-locka under then Robin Crawford, who's retired, way retired. And I remember doing those codes and it was a monster. So when you said it, I was like going back. And it was just a great time. I had no aspirations of being an officer. I don't know why, but it was fun. So, thank you. We've been talking about police explorers for a few years now. And so thank you. We may have future law enforcement officers, lawyers, anyone that want to be in the field. I know that you all are introducing citations, but
Report writing will be coming as well.
no. But I mean, of course, and then of course, talking about community, and I love the pictures that now we get to see the students. It's a diverse mix of, male, female, and different diversities. So that's what we need in our community. And hopefully we can bring, these will be future Opa-locka police officers.
Part of our succession plan. Yes.
Succession planning. Thank you so much for the presentation.
Vice Mayor?
Yes, thank you. I know we don't have a firm, but could this make it to Facebook or to my phone so that I can put it on my page and get it
Yes, ma'am.
moving?
Get it to you.
Okay.
As well
To
as
the
post them
manager.
on the city's information, the city's official format.
The PowerPoint presentation?
No, just the pictures and the highlights.
Okay,
Not
all
the
right, great.
PowerPoint. But turn it into a reel.
We'll figure it out.
Give it to the guys in the back.
I'm sorry.
We have a social media officer that's an expert. We'll take care of it, sir.
Just tell them we want to make it a reel.
Yes, sir.
Interactive reel.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
I have staff in their 30s.
All right. Yeah, we're gonna move quickly so we gotta get to the, we got a report. You have a report?
I do.
Go ahead.
I don't have to be first, but
No, go ahead. You're not first because Commissioner Williams went past.
oh, okay.
Hold up. You have more?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, because we gotta.
Oh, no. I just wanted to thank everyone for the Sister Soiree. It was a great time. And I look forward to hosting it again. It'll be bigger, better. And I'm sure, more entertainment and all of that good stuff. But those that were there, it wasn't a whole lot of people, but guess what? The vibe was there and the vibe was right. So we're going to continue to have the Sister Soiree. And as I was stated, someone told me before, men needed to be there. We're going to have men there next time. It's like, when you go out, women, we draw men. So we're going to have them there. Thank you so much for everyone that supported that as well. And I also wanted to just give a shout out to Vice Mayor for the pool party. I know you're going to talk about it, but we had a blast, the pool party as well as the nighttime Easter egg hunt. So that's it. Thank you. Glow in the dark.
Commissioner, you said you don't have a report, right, Commissioner? Vice Mayor?
March was busy. Okay. I enjoyed the Sister Soiree. The spirits were good. Let's keep it real. The spirits were good. More like great. The vibe was excellent. It really was. It was nice. Thank you. Can't wait till next year on that. Commissioner Williams, thank you. I had the privilege of what started out to be 30 kids, wound up being 70 plus kids, taking them to the youth fair last week, Thursday. We had a blast. We had a blast. And I thank every sponsor that donated funds for me to do that. I do appreciate it. Park and Rec, the volunteers, Park and Rec was amazing. Our volunteers, Commissioner William and Bass, thank you so much for coming out and supporting. Bass offered me to a scooter challenge. So we're at the youth fair having a race on scooters. She won, by the way. We had a ball. We had a really great time. And also, we did have a pool party yesterday for the kids. All the parents, none of the parents wanted to be bothered with their children yesterday because some of those kids was with us from 11 a.m. when the pool party didn't even start till 12. But they were in the pool at 11. They did not leave the park until after 8:30 last night because we also had a glow-in-the-dark Easter egg hunt, which was amazing, followed by the grand finale of fireworks in the park as well. So for that, I thank the Opa-locka Booster Club, Parks and Rec again, the manager's office, of course, and for all those that sponsored that event as well. And I don't have anything else. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right. Commissioner Kelly?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do want to commend the vice mayor for the pool party. I did see the pictures. I was out of town yesterday, but I heard they had a blast. And of course, the youth fair. I didn't hear about the scooter race, but I'm just hearing about that one. But I know they enjoyed it. I want to commend Commissioner Williams on the soiree, and I did go by the soiree. I got there early. I took my own pictures and posted them, so you couldn't say I didn't go by.
He was there at 6 o'clock to 6:14.
I saw
But it's documented.
You did that,
we
Commissioner
saw the
Kelly.
selfie.
It's documented. Matter of fact, there were 3 ladies waiting, and I made sure they saw me so they could be able to tell her face.
Very
that,
nice. Thank you.
Yes, and before the spirits got too high, so I did go by there. Commend you on that. On the soiree. On next Monday at 6 p.m., we're going to have what I'm calling a special edition of Meet Me Monday. Miami-Dade Water and Sewer is going to be in attendance. The manager's office is going to be there. As you know, we've had a lot of questions and concerns over the last few months about water bills, utility bills. And so I always try to bring the folks that can answer the questions to the table. So they're going to be at the Helen Miller Center next Monday, April 1st at 6 p.m. for a special Meet Me Monday edition for any questions, concerns that we have, and also to kind of make sure we're on the same page because we hear so many different things. They blame us about stuff that we no longer do and say that we should be. And so I want to make sure that's clear so our residents and all those who get utility bills know. So of course, everyone is invited. We also be hosting our monthly farm share distribution on next Wednesday, April 3rd at Shabande Pavilion. I want to make this announcement because I realize it's happening. We do start at 10. Sometimes we start a little earlier because the lines are so long. And the last couple of times we've actually been running out of food before 1 o'clock. And that's why we put on the flyer while supplies last. We also are working with Feeding South Florida to reestablish that partnership to start the feeding again on April 19th. And because we're in charge ourselves, we'll be doing the flyer that will have all of us on there as a city commission event. And also we're going to do our best to make sure that we document those who are receiving the items so that we can have a documentation as commission requested in the future. I did want to just ask you, Mr. Mayor, I know you had mentioned before, I had a couple of residents ask me about it, when the county was coming back or what was any update on the bus reroutes that had been mentioned and brought up. And I said I didn't have an update because I've been out of town, but I don't know if you can speak to that or. you know.
As of today, they haven't scheduled a date just yet, but once they do, I'll make sure that the entire commission is aware.
Okay, so they're gonna come back to the city with some kind
We're
of.
trying to get them to come back to the city.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. That concludes my report.
Okay, real quick before we go into the actual meat of my report, I just want to announce that next week, Tuesday at 6 p.m., our state legislators will be here in our chamber to give us a legislative update on what happened in this session. So that's next week, Tuesday at 6 p.m. With State Rep Ashley Gant and Chevin Jones's office will be here in our chamber at 6 p.m. Also, I want to say shout out to Commissioner Williams, Sister Soiree. I stood at the door and I was getting all the food that came out before it went to everybody else. So, and I went inside and got some food. Cause like Commissioner Williams said, there was no men at that party. It was me and two others. And all of us was at the door eating all the food.
But it was a great time.
It was a good food.
Celebrating with the
I didn't
women.
participate in the Holy Spirits like Vice Mayor did, but it was a great event. Also, we want to keep, because a lot of residents have been asking, we want to keep the country of Haiti in prayer. We have a lot of our residents that family has been affected by what's going on over there. So we want to keep them in prayer. And under our report also, we need to do, we're gonna be quick. Mr. Manager, so the financial oversight, we're good. Just send a report directly to the commission as
Yes.
well as the Glorietta Gardens.
Yes, sir.
And before us today, we have the amended manager's contract for your viewing pleasure that me and the manager discussed a couple of days last week, back and forth. And I wanted to bring it to the commission to see if we agree upon what we discussed, and then it will come back at the next commission meeting for final approval. Real quick, I can go over the bullet points. The first change, and I'll just brief it. We took out the 6-month probationary period throughout the contract. We also took out no outside employment in the contract, which will allow the city manager to have outside employment. However, it has to be approved in advance by the city commission. And also he must, what's the?
Abide by
According
the
to-
ethics
Okay, thank you.
for conflicts of interest.
Conflict of interest. And based on the county ordinance, he must, Madam Clerk, what is that? I was telling you this morning. The form, there's a form that he must fill out. That he must fill out every year, that to be clocked by the city clerk. So that's on that. I'm gonna go through it and then you all can tell me your edits. The next part is the termination and severance pay. We took out the part that we have to give him written notice. So at any time, if the commission decides to terminate, we can terminate without cause as well as with cause. And we also took out without notice. So that's without notice. Upon a vote, I'm sorry, upon a vote. We also took out the probationary period of 6 months in that portion as well. We also, going down to compensation and annual review. Commissioner Bass sponsored the salary of 190. I propose to keep it the same. The only increase that we added was that he's entitled to an annual increase equal to the percentage received by the general non-union employees. Also, the commission will do an evaluation between May 1st and June 30th with an optional mid-year progress report to be performed January 30th of each year. And he also is entitled to a bonus after that evaluation period. We will discuss, me and the manager, and then bring it to the commission for approval for the bonuses. If we so choose, feel that he needs one at that time. 30 days from the date of this contract, the commission will meet to give the managers his deliverables and expectations. And then we will also do that exercise annually so that he understands what our goals and initiatives are for the year. The manager will also receive a monthly car allowance. He and will not have the ability to use a city vehicle at any time. Also, we removed the cap of the 1,500 per year on this was for training. So it will not exceed whatever the commission votes and for during the budget season. Also, we added section 14, a new section of disability. If for any reason he is deemed disabled and unable to do his job, he has the right to take off, and then we would take it from his hours. And when he decides to come back, and when he comes back, we have the right to tell him to go get a physical and a psychiatric examination. And I believe those are all of the changes that were made to this contract. So we can, if the commission has any edits or concerns or any additions, we can take those now. and move
Mr.
from there.
Mayor.
Commissioner Williams?
Okay, a few edits.
Okay.
And I don't know if it would have to be flushed out now or if you and the manager would have to go back to have that conversation. I don't agree with the employment clause. I'm not sure why. I mean, the manager is hired to be our manager full time. I know we had a manager that we had to put a clause in because because of what he had going on at that time. But going back to the manager before him, there was no he full-time employment 100% of the time for the city. So I'm not sure why. Section 2C, I think I will say I do disagree with it, but again, the board can flush through that. Also, no, well, it's actually section 2, the one highlighted 2B, having no outside employment whatsoever was stricken out. I actually would like to see that come back. Lastly, and then I know the 6-month probationary period was taken out. I actually would like to see this come back, but maybe a 3-month probationary period. And the reason why I say this is because I want it, whether before or even, working before, this is what I wanted to see no matter who was manager. If they were going to be the permanent manager, and I believe, and I'm only saying this, but based off of past experience, you and I, at least when we went through the manager prior 2 managers ago, there was no probationary period, and that kind of got us, we didn't get a chance to see what that looked like. And I will say this, even with MDCPS, our teachers are now called probationary teachers. They sign a contract called probationary, and I sign these contracts with them, and I explained to them that they have a probationary period of 90 days. So, I mean, we're saying, all teachers now are probationary teachers. So I would like to see the term probationary, at least for 3 months, come back. And I think that's all I have.
So
Let's do it a little more organized. Let's
Okay.
go from left to right and then
Okay.
so that we can move it efficiently. Commissioner Bass, you have any edits or concerns on this contract?
I'm sorry, no, only because, as you stated, you have been in conversation with the city manager, right? In regards to this, and this is what you all came up with? Okay, I'm good.
All right, Vice Mayor?
sorry. I like what I like what I see here. I'll just put it there. I'm okay with what's here. Because I feel like the manager has been on probation for 23 months. So I'm okay with what's in here.
Commissioner Kelly?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I'd like to see a 3-month probation because even though he's been here, now he's the manager. And there's a big difference between being interim and the manager. So I want to see that 3-month probationary period for any manager for that matter. Because I think it's setting a precedence going forward for how the city probably will deal with the manager's position. So yeah, 3 months is what I would suggest and recommend. Also regarding the outside employment, if I'm looking at this correct, it says it cannot be, this is under section 2, C. If there's outside employment, it cannot be conducted during the hours or certain hours, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., et cetera, so forth. Is that every day? Or that's just Monday through Friday?
What we discussed was business hours. So it's Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. But it cannot conflict with his duties as manager. So he can't drop us for his outside employment. We take precedent.
Okay, and the other part on the section 5, the compensation, receives an annual increase equal to whatever the general non-union employees, are they getting annual increases now?
No, but if they were to get one, if the commission decides to vote for that, then he will be entitled to it. And that comes during the budget season.
Okay. I'm trying to do this real quick because we just got it.
Yes, sir.
I think at this point, that's the only ones that stand out. I know you got it highlighted in yellow. So I'm trying to read fast. Those are only concerns I really had. But I would prefer the 3-month probation.
All right, so Mr. Manager, I do want to be inclusive of everybody. So if we do add 3-month probationary period back, what does that mean? That we have to come back and revote? What are we doing? Commissioner Williams and Commissioner Kelly.
Say it again?
I'm sorry, Commissioner Bass. You saying, what Commissioner Bass says, we would revote after 3 months. That's what you're saying?
I'm sorry, I don't agree with that for the mere fact, like, Vice Mayor just said, he has been on probation for almost 2 years. And I think we're kicking the can backwards.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly?
I was very clear. There's a difference between being an interim city manager and city manager. All of our employees, when they come in on a, getting hired on a permanent basis or potentially permanent basis, go through a probationary period. So if the manager's been here however long, but now he's the city manager. So that's why I wouldn't have a problem with the 6, but I can understand decreasing it for the fact that he has been here for a while. But I still think you need a probationary period. And so I would agree with the 3 months.
All right.
And if the manager doesn't want to do it, then just bring it back for a vote for the whole commission.
Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind, I don't want to belabor the time. Can I ask the HR director her advice or her opinion on, because I'm sure she's have seen this before. You want to not?
I don't want to, because I don't
Okay.
think that, I don't think that's, yeah.
I meant the probationary part,
The-
not, that's. the only-
You actually wanted to wait.
So my question, I guess, would be, is that the norm? What, because I do hear both sides. He's been our manager, but Mr. Williams has been our manager, our interim manager. I would have want to see this no matter who. There's no issues that I have. It's just there has to be some type of probationary, and generally in any permanent position, permanent, and outside of all of our feelings, when we talk about permanent, generally there's a probationary period. So I was just curious if, that's, but I don't have to.
I'll ask it this way, Mr. Manager, because you are, what's for the cities, how does the city deal with probationary period?
So the way the city deals with probationary periods is the same way that is done in the private sector. They have 90 days, the first 90 days that an employee is hired, and it's also under state law that for at-will employees, they can receive an evaluation at the 90-day periods, and after the 90-day periods, if they're unsuccessful with that time frame, we as the employer are allowed to release them.
Okay, so Commissioner Williams, is that? All right. Go ahead.
Madam Attorney, any other discussion to that? That's all.
No, this is a contract with your manager, so it's whatever you all agree to. There's no.
No, I meant the probationary part.
That-
Okay, okay.
It's what you agree to.
No worries.
Yes,
Thank
yes, sir.
you.
Yes, ma'am.
So I don't know why we do this. Sometimes we do this. So the manager is totally opposed to any probation. I know he's opposed to the 6 months because they took that out. So he's sitting right there. I mean, is he opposed to 3 months? I mean, we can't act. I mean, sitting right there. I don't know why we.
I thought he was going to go into that.
No. Well, I mean, you took out the 6 months. I agree with that. He's been there for a while, so for 6 months would be, not fair. But 3 months, because that's what it normally is. I've been an employee, I've been a director in Opa-locka, I've been around government, and normally it's 90 days on probation, and then you could do whatever. In this case, even after 90 days, you didn't like him, it's still a process you have to go through. You couldn't just do like you can with other at-will folks normally, because he's going to have a contract. So is he just, I mean, you can't, Madam Attorney, correct me if I'm wrong. We can't just like, Mr. Manager, will 90 days be okay? Because otherwise we got to go
Well,
take it back.
technically, right now, you all have already voted on a contract for the manager. However, the manager has said that he would like to reopen the contract and have additional discussion about it. That's what you're doing now. So the mayor obviously met with the manager. They hashed out certain things, and you all agreed at the last meeting that it will come back to you for a discussion, which is what this is. So you all are having a discussion. The manager is free to say, this is a public entity. And so a lot of times what people don't understand, they kind of think, well, this feels weird or whatever, but this is how it's done in the public when you're talking about, contractual agreements. This is what you did for me. This is what so whatever contractual agreements for your people who are employed by the city that you employ directly, this is the process. So you're having a process right now. You're asking the manager can weigh in right now.
Thank you. That's what I was getting. Well, to me, all the other things that, working outside is fine. Mr. Manager, Mr. Mayor, to the manager, since we can, would you be opposed to 3-month probation?
Through the mayor to Commissioner Kelly, the answer is absolutely yes, I would. And allow me to flesh that out a little bit. There are financial ramifications to this decision. So what you're actually doing is extending the period by which you can terminate me at any time. Probationary period or no probationary period, you have the right to terminate your manager at any time. What a probationary period does in this contract, it extends for an additional 3 months on top of the 23 months that I have already served the city of Opa-locka, where I received no severance pay. So I have served the city of Opa-locka for 23 months as an at-will employee with no severance pay. I would not extend that. I would not agree to extend that for an additional 3 months. And to address the first concern for the at-will employment, just allow me to go into that. This job takes about 60 hours a week as it is. The only reason why I put that in there is because it's usual and customary for executives to get speaking opportunities and teaching gigs. So that 5 additional hours would be, so if I want to represent the city of Opa-locka at a class or a forum or speaking engagement at University of Miami, which is my alma mater, the business school, I would be happy to take that engagement.
Well, I don't have a problem with the outside employment. That happens a lot. That's not an issue for me because it says the commission has to approve it. So, and again, let me go back and I don't want to belabor this because the commission already decided to make you the manager. But when you were entering them 20-some months or whatever,
1 second, Commissioner Kelly.
I'm sorry.
Y'all have finished?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
We'll speak offline, sir.
Thank you.
When you were hired, you knew it was an interim position. You knew what you were getting into. So whether it was 23 months or 36 months, you had the opportunity, just like the city did, to say they don't want you here anymore. You decided to stay. Now you become permanent. So I don't view that as something you're shouting, but I appreciate your answer. So you got that. He won't accept 3 months. So there you have it. You just bring it back for whatever happens in votes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. All right, so what is the consensus on this contract as it relates to the probationary period?
I still say 3 months.
3 months. Okay,
And I can, if the outside employment, again, of like Commissioner Kelly said, if it comes to us in any way, then that's fine. I think the speaking engagements and all that, if it was written here in that type of language, then I can, this is open-ended. This is saying any and all outside employment. So I think that's the part that, but if it's specific to like speaking engagements or I don't know, conventions or, things like that, if that language was in here, I wouldn't have a problem, but the other,
it's not specific. He has to let us know what he's going to be doing and bring it to the commission for approval.
no, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying
Okay.
the language in the contract is very open-ended to any and all outside employment. But the manager just said it's speaking engagements or, et cetera, or even if he wanted to be an adjunct professor, but I'm saying, why can't that language be placed in the contract as opposed to an open-ended all outside employment? I think that's the part that if it was more specific to what he just
The
mentioned.
specific part will be through a resolution. So next week when we vote, the manager will let us know, I'm gonna be doing, I'm gonna be, I'm not gonna say that. He's gonna be a dog walker. I'm gonna have a cleaning company. So he's gonna list all the outside of employment and then the commission will approve it at that time. So it will come in a separate resolution form, which will be done annually. Like
Mr. Mayor, just for purposes of knowing how to clean this up, because if there's a meeting of the minds that what the manager is talking about is outside employment being speaking engagements and being able to be an adjunct professor somewhere, then we can clean it up right now and that can be clearly specified in the contract, not just a separate resolution, but in this contract. So if that's what the intent is, which is what he said on the record, and that's what Commissioner Williams is fine with, and maybe Commissioner Kelly is fine with that too, then that can be cleaned up like right now. And so when I go back and I give this back to you, you won't have that as an issue. He's specified what it's to be.
Okay. So Mr. Manager, you said public speaking and adjunct professor.
So to the mayor, we can remove that section. This was something, as again, this job already takes 60 hours out. I thought about what could possibly be done, and I thought what adjunct professor, and I thought it would be in the interest of the city, in the interest of the city of Opa-locka, to have a city manager that could further represent the professionalism of this office. But that is not something that I'm willing to take to the mat, not something I'm willing to fight about. The whole section can be removed. However, I will not agree to a probationary period of any time period.
Okay, so the manager has agreed to remove, so having no outside employment whatsoever.
That's fine.
All right. Okay, so that's removed. And then the probationary period that was added on by my colleagues. You're not in agreement of that.
No, sir.
All right. So, Madam Attorney, will we need to come back for negotiation or can we just call for a vote next week?
You can,
My colleagues want it in, so
Well, if there's 3 votes for it, you can put it in the contract and the manager can decide he wants to decline and not participate with your contract.
Okay, and I'll say this, the only reason why I was okay with not putting the probationary period in is because the manager is at will, so we can fire him at any time. And even if he was a probationary employee, the way the contract, we can let him go tomorrow if we wanted to.
The only difference is the manager is right. The only difference is you have that severance period that you will have to pay for however many months of the severance. So basically, if you have this 3-month period in, you can evaluate your manager for another 3 months, and you won't be subject to the 20 calendar weeks of base salary, a lump sum payment of then the hourly rate of base salary as the manager for all annual leave hours accumulated by him are unused as of the date of the termination, not to exceed the maximum accrual provided by the city's personnel policy. And there are some other things in here that have to do with health insurance, some expenses going forward for so many calendar days following the termination. So there are a number of things, if you look at section 3, that you're going to have to be subject to if in fact you don't have any buffer if you wanted to, or you could, of course, not, vote it in as the manager is suggesting. So it's up to you, but I want you to be clear about what you're voting on.
Then let's do it this way, Madam Attorney. Let's meet in the middle. We won't call it probationary period, but if the manager is let go within the next 3 months, he will not be eligible for the severance. Are you okay with that?
So you're saying I will be eligible for the
You will
severance?
not.
So then
Not 20 weeks. We would
so
negotiate
you
a
just
severance.
changed the name. So the last city manager was an interim city manager that served the city of Opa-locka for 2 months and received a severance pay of 5 months. So he received compensation for the city of Opa-locka for a longer period than what he served the city. I have now served the city for 23 months, and it's the notion that I will continue to serve for an additional period of time, of any period of time where a severance package would not be offered. I reject that.
Well, I didn't say the severance would not be offered. I would say it would be agreed upon. The severance will be agreed upon. That's what I said. So,
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly,
to me, that would just lead to litigation, because both sides would have to agree, and if they don't agree, you're gonna wind up in court. The manager said what he will allow, what he will go for, which is straight with no probation. Some don't. Let's just vote up or down so we can move on, and the manager can make a decision. This commission can make a decision, because it's you've negotiated everything else. I have no problem with the outside appointment, even if you had left it in there. That wasn't really a sticking point, because you had to let us know. He's taking it out, that's fine, but I still agree with the 3-month probation. He will not go for that. Some of us indicated we want to do it. So we've asked him, he's indicated. So let's just come down to a vote and we can move on however we're gonna move on.
all right. So, Madam Attorney, the consensus is for the probationary period. You're yes, Bass is no. I'm gonna vote no for the probationary period. Vice Mayor? Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Yes. All right. So we're good here. The only other thing that we took out was the which is what the manager agreed to, so we don't need to vote on that, the outside employment. So he will not be eligible for outside employment. All right, our hearts and minds are clear? All right,
Yes,
so
I'm clear. I just, one more thing. You mentioned 30 days that the commission would have to do, our goal setting. It says 30 days of the contract. Is that feasible? So basically you're saying that after 30 days, after the contract is agreed upon or signed, et cetera, we would then have to come as a board to do commission priorities in 30 days. Usually it takes a while. You know that it took us a while to plan out and and actually execute, commission priorities. Can we,
But
is that
we-
something to do in 30 days?
The commission can figure out how we want to see that, because maybe it's your personal initiatives, citywide initiatives. You can do one-on-one, we can bring in a legislation form, you can compile it all together in legislation form and we present it
Okay.
in resolution form, sorry.
Mhm.
And we can go from there. So we can flesh that out next week, how we want to see it going forward, 30 days from the next commission meeting.
Okay, okay.
All right, but
What-
again, the
what-
contract says failure of this, go ahead.
I just want to bring one issue to your attention because the way that you explained it, Mr. Mayor, and I just want to point out the way it's written is not what was said. So under the compensation where it says there's a yellow highlighted area, section 5, and it says the city manager may receive an annual increase equal to the percentage received by general non-union employees. In that section, it's may receive because you don't have contracts where the manager will be in a position of bringing to you issues of compensation for his staff, whether it's just put in the budget or something else, and he benefits from it. So it's something you would be taking a separate look at. So if this comes up, he may receive it if you agree upon it. It might be the fair thing to do, but it wouldn't be just lumped in automatically. And I just wanted to point that out because.
But I said we will vote, the commission will make that decision.
Yes, the commission would make the decision, but when you were explaining it, you explained it a little bit differently. I just wanted to put it on the record so it doesn't become an issue later if somebody were to look back on the tape and say, this is what was intended. I just want you to know what it said, what it actually says.
Okay.
So to the, through the mayor to the city attorney, it is the position that this would, so if the commission passes a budget, where they budget a 1% increase, annual increase for all city employees, you're saying that I would not be automatically eligible for that as an employee of the city of Opa-locka?
It would be because you have a contract. It would be something that the city commission would take a separate look at. They may do it. They probably would, maybe, I don't know. But it wouldn't be as a part of it because you never want to have your manager. I've never seen that in a contract where you automatically have your manager in a position where he's advocating for, salary increases, let's say for non-union employees, where really he benefits, right? So he may benefit, but it would be if you all take a second look at it and you agree, yes, this should be the city manager should get that. It's a standard thing. It's not anything, I'm not just pulling it out of my head. It's like standard. You all, any increases like that, you all take a second, whether it's a bonus, whether it's a, regular increase. Normally, the city managers are not participating in the regular increases with the staff. They participate in if there was a bonus structure or something like that you all decide, okay, he did really well on his evaluation. We want to give him, $3,000 for bonus, whatever it is that you decide, you can do that, but it's not like just regular as a part of something that non-union employees would be getting. That's why I put that's why the may is there, but I didn't want to make it something that was,
Okay.
it comes
Mr.
up
Mayor?
later as an issue. I wanted to make it clear and put it on the record.
All right. Mr. Manager. I agree with the city attorney. And once we get to that point, when the raises come, the commission will look at it separately and make a separate decision. But the manager is may be entitled to said raise. Right? That's what we're saying?
That's what.
Okay, and the commission will vote on it separate and we'll look at it separate, right? Mr. Manager? We're good?
No.
Go ahead.
So, as you are aware, the only reason why I agreed to such a small bonus structure is to have a bonus structure. We had discussed having the commission establish a bonus structure with performance goals, and at the end we agreed upon this structure. So this takes out any kind of bonus structure whatsoever because everything now is May. So then this takes any type of bonus apparatus, certain bonus apparatus out of this contract, which was not our intent.
This is not relating to a bonus. What I brought up, I just want to be clear, what I brought up is not relating to a bonus at all.
I'm just, Madam Attorney, I'm just relating what the meeting of the minds were. This is clearly, I think we're in agreement, this is clearly not that. So what I would agree to would be that if it's not this, then if this is not compulsory, then I would like to again request that the commission come up with performance goals with attached pecuniary benefits to them.
Well, Mr. Manager, we already stated that we would consider every year your bonus, which will come before the commission and we vote. We discussed that in the meeting. So
Again, Mr. Mayor, I'm requesting that if we're not going to have a certain bonus structure in here as this language is now, then the commission establishes, say, we want you to do.
But the bonus structure is not in question.
If I could finish my explanation, sir, that say if the commission choose that the goal is to ensure that we get out of state financial oversight. And if you do it by a certain day, you'll get, $50,000. Or if the goal is to ensure that the audits are turned in by a certain period of time, then you get this certain amount of dollars. If we're not going to have a bonus, a compensation benefit for achieving certain goals, certain city goals, then that was the whole purpose of saying, okay, we won't go with specific goals, but if the staff gets an increase, the city manager gets an increase as well. And as we know, the staff increases, we haven't done those every single year. We've rarely done them. And when we've done them, they've been 1 to 3%. Now, my hope is that as we're getting on a better financial footing, that we can have what are considered, annual compensation increases for all staff that would include the city, that would include the city manager, and certainly the city clerk as well as an employee.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say two things, Mr. Manager. Number one, the bonus was not in question. The bonuses, it wasn't in question. In question was the increase. Now, we already said that the commission will come together to set goals and expectations. You have to trust the commission that if you meet those benchmarks, that we will take care of you. So it's either way, it's either,
Okay, so
we can't,
I'll trust the
there's
commission.
nothing there that says you're gonna get $5 if you do this and $10 if you do that. I wouldn't agree to that. That's not even like, yeah, I wouldn't even agree to that. But if we set goals and expectations of you, then you need to trust your bosses that at said time, we will take care of you. And everything that you've asked, pretty much, except for one, we've done. Two, we've done. So you have to trust that the commission will do right by the manager if the manager does right by the city. I think that's fair. I think that's fair. And I don't think none of us are in the business that we're out to get you. I don't think we're there. So you have to trust your bosses that we will, just like you expect your employees to trust. I should say that. Just trust your bosses. Trust your bosses.
Trust my bosses. Yes, sir.
Thank you. So that's all I'm asking. So we can close this out and move forward. So the contract as is, no probationary period, that will remain out. And the manager has agreed that he will not have any outside employment. Okay, and Madam Attorney, once you prepare the document in resolution form, we'll bring it to the commission next commission meeting, and we'll vote. All right, all hearts and minds are clear on this? All right. Okay. We already said the financial oversight and the glory of the gardens you presented in a form. Do we have no official board appointments at this time?
I would like to make a recommendation for the charter review board for the two that are at large positions. I like to think about people that really truly love our city. And I know that Lawrence Borough love our city, and I would like to throw his name. I'm sorry, New York.
I don't think an employee should sit on our board. I think it was the way we structured it was a business owner or somebody that.
I asked the question last week, which is why I at the last meeting, that's why I proffered his name this time. Because if there's ever a board that needs to be looked at when it comes to who's sitting on there, is our zoning board. I think that's the board that met last week. We have one resident that sits on that board.
But the way the ordinance speaks to the zoning board, all of the residents that sit on the zoning board are professionals.
There's only one that sits there. We only have one resident on the board that Ordered Dominguez sits on?
Mato is a resident. He grew up in this city. They live here. You also have, who else? But that's not the board in question. The board in question is the charter review board.
Yes, and I brought the question to the last, it's recorded. I brought it and asked who could sit on this board. And it never said that an employee couldn't sit on the board.
Okay.
We could ask them, the attorney
I
should
mean,
sit
you
right
can
there.
proffer the name, but I would not support.
But-
Only one person.
Okay.
So
We can
I
ask
wouldn't support.
the attorney if that's, the name would be legal.
I'll look at the requirements of the charter review board and I'll send them to you tomorrow.
Okay, no rush, no
Okay.
problem.
So we're good. No other appointments on the boards. So we can move for adjournment. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Move it.
Oh wait, that was everybody. So move by Commissioner Kelly and I'll second it by Commissioner Basher. Take that second. Commissioner Williams will take that second. So move by Commissioner Kelly, second by Commissioner Williams. This meeting is adjourned.